Yeah. This is probably as important a daf as you're going to get, having to do with Hilchos Shabbos as it pertains to warming up food on Shabbos and cooking stuff before Shabbos, etc., etc. So try and pay attention a little bit. I'll try and make it as clear as I can. First, to review from yesterday. Where's my review?
Guys, mute yourselves.
Daf Yomi review. Here we go. Okay, so yesterday's daf we discussed on Yud Zayin and Aleph the thickness of something that makes oil, meaning if you have that piece of thing that you, I don't know what we called it, that you drive the animal to make them go. So depending on how thick that is, that's a tumas oil or not. And then we said at a wine press, according to Shamai, Bais Shamai have to be tahor, but not an olive press, and the reasons why. And then the story of how Hillel had to give in to Shammai, and it was a sad day for Klal Yisrael, just like the day that they did the Egel. Right? That's on Amud Aleph. Amud Beis was truma that gets replanted in the Gezerah, that new truma that grows still retains the status of truma. It's not considered a new entity. And that's a Gezerah because Minat Torah, it is considered a new entity and it's not truma. And then we said if you get stuck on Friday night, did I post this today? I don't think I did. If you get stuck on Friday night, it's better to give you a guy than to walk pachas medal ramis. And then we said the gezerah of not eating bread, oil, wine, and of a guy, and then also that there's a iser yichud to be with a guy, which again is the rabbanon, not a deraisa. I don't think I posted this today. I don't know if anybody reads it anyways, but at least it makes me learn better. So I'll post it now. Yeah. Okay. So now we start with the Mishnah. Yeah, on Yud Zayin Beis. Bais Shamai says, yes, ain't shoyrin dioi v'samanim v'kashinin. You're not allowed to soak dyes, and samanim is not drugs, right? The kashinim, it's all these things that you're going to use to dye the water so that you can make dyes. You can only put these dyes in to the water before Shabbos if you have enough time that it's going to create the dye, that the water is going to create the dye before Shabbos. Bais Hillel says mutter. Okay, so now let's stop just before we continue here. Bais Shamai is going to go with a bunch of different cases about how you are not allowed to have malacha being done for you over Shabbos, even though you're doing absolutely nothing. Meaning, how do we have lights on Shabbos in our house? Right? Obviously, we're turning on the lights before Shabbos. Oh, but the light burning on over Shabbos is a malacha, right? So why are we allowed to do that? So that the Gemara is going to discuss why Bais Shamai allows that and why they don't allow other things. But most other things Bais Shamai says, and obviously we don't paskin like Bais Shamai, otherwise we have a lot of problems. But Bais Shamai says that all malacha has to be completed before Shabbos starts. So if you're going to make dye, right? If you're going to make dye before Shabbos, and let's say it takes 5 hours to make the dye. So Shabbos is 7 o'clock nowadays, so you'd have to, by 2 o'clock would be the cutoff for you to make your dyes for Shabbos according to Bais Shamai. And Bais Hillel disagrees, and it says as long as you get it in there before Shabbos, then we don't care that it's going to be creating the dye over Shabbos. Okay? So Bais Hillel Matina, Bais Hillel says mutter. Bais Shamai ain't nice in unin shal pishtan l'sei chataner. You're not allowed to take bundles of flax and put it into an oven. Only if there's enough time. Miba'idyan means when it's still day, meaning when it's still Friday. It has to be able to finish heating it up when it's still Friday. You can't put wool into a vat. It's for dyeing, and what you're doing is you're dyeing the wool. The wool has to go. The dye has to go into the wool before Shabbos, according to Bais Shamai. Bais says Bais Shamai ain't parson matzudas chai v'avos l'dogim. You're not allowed to put out traps to trap fish or animals or birds unless it's going to have enough time to trap those things before when it's still day. As long as you set the trap before Shabbos, Bais Hillel has no problem with it trapping on Shabbos. You're not allowed to sell to a guy, and you're not allowed to load up a guy. Let's say a guy comes to your business on Friday afternoon and he buys, he buys a couch from you. So you're not allowed to load up the guy's either his animal or his truck. And you're not allowed to pick things up onto him. He has to be able to get somewhere. Doesn't necessarily mean he has to get to his own home, but he has to be able to get somewhere before Shabbos even starts. Bais Hillel says, as long as you load up that truck the second before Shabbos, then you're okay. Right? It's all the same Machlokes, it's just all different examples. Bais Shamai, you're not allowed to give in your leather, your skins to the leather guy. But like keileim l'kayves nachri, and you're not allowed to give your laundry into the cleaners. Only if they'll be able to have time to clean it when it's still day. Ubakulan, Bais Hillel matirin ima shemesh, and with all these cases, Bais Hillel allows it as long as it's done while there's still ima shemesh means with sun, meaning as long as the sun is still up. My father's house, the minig was you nice and clean lovin l'kayves nachri shloisha yamim keileim Shabbos. They used to give their white garments into the cleaners 3 days before Shabbos. Why? Because obviously Shimon Gamliel held like Bais Shamai, and he felt that it's going to take the cleaners 3 days to wash the clothing, so therefore it had to be given in 3 days before Shabbos. Right? Other clothing that took less, and then they could be given into the cleaners before that. But there is no machlokes, they both agree. Bais Shamai and Bais Hillel both agree that when you load up, like we had yesterday, the vats for the olive presses and the grape presses, as long as you get those beams that squeeze the stuff out before Shabbos, as long as it's on there before Shabbos, then it's even though the stuff is going to ooze out a whole Shabbos, even Bais Shamai agrees that that's enough, and that's because
Yaakov.
What do you say?
Zebi Mold. What does it mean that Rashi says he was machmir when he gave? Rashi says over there, the second line, Gimel Yom machmir amatzvah to Bais Shamai is machmir.
Right.
How was he machmir?
Because he was machmir because we don't paskin like Bais Shamai. Right. So Shimon Gamliel decided he's going to go like Bais Shamai anyway. So that's what he means. He's machmir on himself like Bais Shamai because we paskin like Bais Hillel. Right. Okay. Anyway, but they both agree with the as long as you load up the vat with the beams, as long as you do that before, that's going to be okay because that's the main work is already done. Okay. Anyway, so that's basically the machlokes. Again, Bais Shamai holds everything has to be done before Shabbos. Bais Hillel says no, we have no problem with malacha being done over Shabbos as long as you're not doing the malacha on Shabbos, as long as you're doing it before Shabbos. Yeah. Fine. So now the Gemara first discusses, this is also Negei Lamaisa, but this is not the place to discuss it, but we'll discuss it for a minute. Mantana Nesinas Mayim Lidiyai Zui Shriyasim. Who is the Tana that says that putting water into the dye, that's called soaking? Meaning, there's something called, what's the term? Kneading. How do you say it? Kneading. That's the word, right? When you take liquid and you mix it in with a solid and it turns it into a different entity, right? Yeah, Simon, you all, yeah, okay, thank you. So, anyways, so at what point? That's what it says. Okay, so at what point are you over on the Isser? Is it when you add the water to the mixture, or do you have to, or adding the water to the mixture is nothing, and then you have to actually take it with your hands and mix it together, and then you're over. So from here, it sounds like, the Gemara is saying, from our mission, it sounds like putting the dye, or putting whatever, the kashinim, samanim, whatever it is, that is right away, that's considered the malacha. So it sounds like you're over on the malacha of kneading, even before it gets mixed. So the Gemara is asking, who says that just the putting the water into the dye is considered, that's the soaking? If one person puts in the flour and one person puts in the water, the one that puts in the water is chayiv. Divrei Rebbe. Rabbi Yossi says, no, you're not chayiv until you actually knead it together. Right? This is actually a Pesach sugi, right? How you make matzah, right? So you clearly see that according to Rebbe, right when the person adds the water, that's considered like it's ground up, even though it wasn't actually ground up yet. Once you mix it, that becomes usher. So Amar Abaya, Abaye said, but Dilma, maybe that's not true. That's it's not like Rebbe. But Dilma Adkan like Rabbi Yossi al Bekemach the Bar Gibulu. Maybe he's saying by flour, which is something that you grind up. So when you add water, so that's automatically considered like it's ground up. Avol dioi, but dye is a liquid. Avol dioi the la Bar Gibulu, but dye that doesn't, you don't have to do anything to it. All you do is add the dye to the water, and that dyes the whole water. So you don't have to. That's the last. There's only one step. So maybe it would be chayiv. Maybe they would agree. Rabbi Yossi would agree that you would be chayiv, that you don't need to grind it up. So when it says loy sakatayto, don't think that. The Tanya echad noisin as ha'efer, ve'echad noisin as ha'mayim, ha'achron chayiv. If somebody puts, you're mixing ashes, efer is ashes, and one puts water, the achron is chayiv. The one who puts the water is chayiv. They're Rabbi, and Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yudah, and Achi Gavel. So you have the same machlokes. And efer is not something that could be ground up, right? You don't ground up ashes. You just add the ashes to the water for whatever reason that you're doing it. So therefore, you see that their machlokes is by something that's not ground up either. So therefore, we could say that our mission is going like Rebbe. So now the Gemara says, no, but Dilma my efer offer. The Bar Gibelu, maybe the word efer is not really with an aleph, but it's with an ayin, which is dirt, and dirt you can grind, right? So, and therefore, it's something that you could grind. It's something that you wouldn't be able to grind. Then that wouldn't be it wouldn't be the same case as dye. So Gemara says Vatanya Efer, Vatanya Offer, but it says we have one brisa that says Efer, and you have one brisa that says Offer. Right, so it seems to be interchangeable. So the Gemara says Midi Gabi Adadi Tanya. Did it say these two brises next to each other? It didn't say them next to each other. Right, it's two different authors. Right. So one uses lashon afar and efer, meaning they mean the same thing. One, they're both talking about ashes. They're not talking about dirt. So therefore, we are clearly saying that our mission is going like Rebbe, who holds that right when you add the water to the mix, it's considered like it's grinding. Which is why when you're making oatmeal and all that on Shabbos, so you got to do two shinuyim, right? It says two shinuyim in order to make it. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. If you have to make oatmeal on Shabbos, so you do it with two shinuyim. If you normally take the oatmeal and add the water, so what you do is you put in the water and then add the oatmeal to the water, and then when you mix it with another shinui, and that's the proper way to make oatmeal, having something to do with this machlokes. Okay, fine. You are allowed to flood your garden on Erev Shabbos with water, right, before it gets dark. And the water, basically what it's saying is you can turn on your sprinkler system on Friday. As long as you turn on your sprinkler system on Friday before Shabbos, it can go and water your ground for the whole Shabbos. So manichin mugmar tachas keileim, and you're allowed to put incense under your keileim. I don't know, it's not incense. Mugmar is like what? Okay, Ilam's very quiet tonight. Manichin mugmar tachas keileim, and you put whatever, some sort of ashes that makes your keileim black. Umiskamer b'halchon kaliyam kuloi. Meaning you put it on top of this mugmar from before Shabbos, and it'll do this the whole Shabbos. So manichin gofres tachas hakelim, and you take gofres is not ash. There's a word for gofres.
Sulfur.
Sulfur. Thank you. Right. You put sulfur under the kelim. Erev Shabbos imcha shecha mizgafrim v'holchin kol Shabbos kula, and it's going to go add sulfur to your kelim the whole Shabbos. So manichin kilar agabe ayin, and you could put this keeler, this some sort of makeup on the eye. It's not makeup, it's there for refuah. There's palonas agabi maka, and you can put these are some sort of creams, and you put it on a cut. And it will heal you. It goes and can heal the whole Shabbos, right? Which we know you're not allowed to heal on Shabbos. So all these things are not allowed to be done on Shabbos. But here the Bais is saying that as long as you do it before Shabbos, it's okay. I will ain't nice yet. So if you stop right now, you think, okay, who would be the Tana of this brisa? So you would think that it's Bais Hillel. It's Bais Hillel, right? It's not going to be Bais Shamai, because Bais Shamai says that it's a problem for the malacha to go a whole Shabbos, right? Aval, right? So that's part. Now here's where it gets more, and this is Nageya very much. Aval ain't nice and chitin l'seicher rechaim shomayim el b'kdei sheyitchenu mi'ba'id. You are not allowed to put wheat into a grinder, a mill, before Shabbos, and now it's going to grind the whole Shabbos. Only it's got to finish grinding on Friday. My timer, What's the reason? Because it makes a lot of noise. Okay, so before we go weiter, so if let's say you say that this price was Bais Hillel, so that means that even Bais Hillel would say that something that's going to make noise over Shabbos is not allowed, right? It's going to make noise over Shabbos. Yeah. So therefore, what comes out from this is, can you do things before Shabbos, like put stuff into a washing machine, put stuff into a dryer, put stuff into a dishwasher before Shabbos that make noise, right? Even though we do a lot of things before Shabbos, and we don't mind that it goes into Shabbos because we pass them like Bais Hillel. But if you say that this price is Bais Hillel, then even Bais Hillel is maida that you cannot do things that make a lot of noise, right? Which we'll get to, because if that's the case, can you set an alarm clock on Shabbos? That makes noise, right? Can you set things that air conditioners make noise, et cetera, et cetera? Okay, so that's the whole sugya.
Would it make a difference if it was like downstairs, like our washer and dryer is downstairs in the basement, and we don't have the buzzer on? So
no, it doesn't really, because we're saying once it's noise on Shabbos, it's noise. It doesn't really have to necessarily be heard, right?
It's if you don't hear it from the other room.
What do you mean? If you put it in a different room?
Right. If you're in another room, you don't hear it.
Right. So then it's but that's not pashut at all. And the only thing is maybe our dishwashers are very quiet. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so
Rashi says it's a zilzul.
What?
Rashi says it's a zilzul.
Correct. It's a zilzul.
So it's not so much the noise; it's the zilzul, Shabbat.
Right, but the noise, to have noise on Shabbos of malacha being done, is a zilzul for Shabbos. It's not. La halacha, if you hold the malacha is being done before Shabbos, what should change? Right? What should change? Nothing should change. It's only because it's a zilzul Shabbos to have noise going on in your house on Shabbos. Right? Same thing with running a TV from before Shabbos. Why can't you, if you're running an air conditioner, why can't you run a TV? Right? Elamai, it's a zilzul for Shabbos. Anyway, so right now we're saying that this is Bais Hillel. Why do you need this whole reason, right? Why don't you just say that you're not allowed to put into the grinder because shvisas keileim, which is basically that your utensils have to also keep Shabbos. And whatever I told you, whatever I said to you should do, you should watch the Rabbi shvisas keileim. It comes to include that your keileim have to keep Shabbos too. It is because of shvisas keileim. So if that's the case, and we're saying that Bais Hillel holds that there is a concept of your keileim keeping Shabbos, so then gofrus and mugmar, so then what's pshat in the ratio? Right, the gofrus and mugmar, right? When you're putting the, what do you call it, sulfur, right? Did we have a translation for mugmar? Okay, whatever. I don't know what. Hold on, I got how it's going here. Mugmar, whatever it is, the thing that you're doing to enhance the keileim.
Spices.
Right? Who?
Spices, it says.
What?
Spices.
Spices?
Spices.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so how come Bais Shamai, if Bais Hillel says that that's considered using keileim on Shabbos, and your keileim have to rest on Shabbos, and then what about the first part of the brayso of gofrus and mugmar? So my time is sharum, the like covered ma'isa. So Gemara answers because you're not there. There's nothing. There's no ma'isa being done, right? There's no a grinder, a mill is going a whole Shabbos. There's actually something being done here. You just add the spices to whatever it is that you're doing, and it goes by itself a whole Shabbos. Unan shall pishta, so bundles of flax. My time is sharu. How can we allow that? Shem the loy oven ma'isa, also because there's no ma'isa being done. You just put it in there, and it just goes. Umenach naicha. And then it just rests. It just sits in there. Okay, so what about the traps? You set up a trap before Shabbos, right? That trap is actually doing a mice of trapping on Shabbos. So how come Bais Hillel says that's okay? So asamnami belechi bekukri. There it's talking about with its hooks. The way the trap worked, it wasn't like your standard trap where the animal walks in and then something snaps around it. it's just a hook. So the animal gets itself caught on the hook. So that's also not a maisa, right? Mantana shvisas keileim deraisa Bais Shamai v'loy Bais Hillel. So now we're going to go with the other shita. Right? Till now we said that this shita holds its Bais Hillel. Now we're saying that Rav Oishia says in the name of Rav Asi that the one who says shvisas keileim is deraisa Bais Shamai v'loy Bais Hillel. So now we have to go the other way. Now we have to understand why Bais Shamai, how he's going to understand the rest of the brisa. Bain covered ma'isa, bain dollar covered ma'isa, osir. Then, according to Bais Shamai, it's whether you did a ma'isa, whether you didn't do a ma'isa, it's osir. The Bais Hillel, afagav to covered ma'isa, shari. And according to Bais Hillel, since he doesn't hold the shvisas keileim according to Rav Oishia, so therefore has nothing to do with ma'isa, has nothing to do with ma'isa, no ma'isa. So therefore, they were saying that this price is Bais Shamai. Bahashta now the Amr to Bais Shamai avagav to liable ma'isa osir. So according to Bais Shamai, that even if it doesn't do a ma'isa, it's also because your keileim can't do anything, regardless of whether it's doing a ma'isa. So now we're going to go through the price. If that's the case, so mugmar v'gafris, my time is short of Bais Shamai. So then why do they allow this mugmar and this gafris? Why do they allow it? So Gemara answers, it's not talking about where you put this sulfur and this mugmar into a pot. Hasam manach a'ara. There it's talking about where it was resting on the ground, right? And therefore you were not using any sort of keileim. So therefore that's not an issue. Gigas, vener, v'keder, v'shvud. Now these are not in the brisa, right? But a gigas is that you make beer in a barrel, and a ner is that you have a ner. Even Bais Shamai agrees that you're allowed to light a ner before Shabbos and let it go on a whole Shabbos. Ukedera and pots also. Bais Shamai agrees that if you put food into a pot and cook it before Shabbos, it's allowed to stay cooking. Ushvud. And a shvud is also, you took a shvud is a spit, so you have your food on a spit before Shabbos. My time is shoro Bais Shamai. How come Bais Shamai allows you to do this over Shabbos? And it's a very interesting answer. And this actually has to do with what we discussed with tefillas keileim for Pesach. The mafkalu of kuri, it's talking about where you made it hefker, right? So that's the only time you're allowed to use your pots and your candles on Shabbos is if you make it hefker. Right? Then the Gemara says, "Man tan alad the taner rabban loy samali isha kedera associates with turmasin, tzaniach l'secha taner erev Shabbos and chashecha." Right? So who's the matana now that says that a woman cannot fill up a pot with beans associated with turmasin or types of beans? Right? So you're not allowed to fill up a pot and put it in v'taniach l'secha taner and put it into an oven erev Shabbos in chashecha on erev Shabbos before it gets dark. And if you did put it in before Shabbos, the Motzei Shabbos asurin b'kedei sheyasu. You're not allowed to use it on Motzei Shabbos until it has enough time to do the work, to meaning that it has enough time to cook. So meaning, let's say it would have taken an hour to cook these beans before Shabbos, and you put it in right before Shabbos. That was not allowed to be done. So therefore, you're not allowed to use these beans after Shabbos until you wait an hour, which would be the time they would take to cook. And then similarly. A baker cannot take a barrel of water and put it inside an oven out of Shabbos in chashecha when it gets dark. And if he did do it on Motzei Shabbos, it's also b'kedei sheyasu. Now this is very important. In halacha l'maaseh, this is very important. The Gemara here is saying a brisa that you're not allowed to put food into the oven if it's not cooked before Shabbos, right? And you're not allowed to put it into the oven. Yeah? It's got to be cooked before Shabbos. So who's the time of this brisa? Is it Bais Shamai or is it Bais Hillel? The chayra can't be Bais Hillel because we're saying Bais Hillel holds that as long as you do the work before Shabbos, it's fine. Right? So then the chayra it's Bais Shamai. So the Gemara says, Bais Shamai, let's say it's Bais Shamai, like Bais Hillel, and it's not Bais Hillel. So the Gemara answers, Afilu Teva Bais Hillel. Okay, now this is probably from the two most important lines you'll have in the whole Masechta Shabbos. Afilu Teva Bais Hillel, you can even say it's Bais Hillel. And why does he hold that you're not allowed to put up this raw food before Shabbos? Because we're afraid. Now we have a different concern. Granted, Bais Hillel holds as long as you do the work before Shabbos, you're okay. But here we have a new gezerah, which is that if you're going to put up raw food, we're afraid that you're going to go check on the food, and you're going to see that it's not cooking well, and you're going to go mess around with the coals. Okay, so it's a new gezerah from Bais Hillel. So now what comes out that according to all opinions, you're not allowed to put up raw food before Shabbos. So now Gemara asks, if that's the case, mugmar v'gafras nami ligzar. So then the sulfur and this mugmar, which is also having to do with heat, Bais Hillel should also say you shouldn't be able to do it. So he answered, Hasam loy machtilu. There he's not going to mix it. Well, the imachti salikbu kutra v'kashilu, because if you're gonna mess around with the coals, it's going to make smoke, and that's not good to do whatever this process is that you're doing. So then Gemara says, unin shel pishta nami, when you're putting flax, heating up flax in order to finish the process, that's also heat. So that should also, again, unin shel pishta nami ligzar, you should also make zera. So Gemara answers, hasam kimin the kashilu zika. There we're not afraid. It's when if you would let air into the pot, right, or the oven or whatever it is that you're doing, then air is going to damage it. So you're not going to reveal it, meaning you're not going to open up the oven to mix the coals, because that cold air that's going on in there is around the cold air, or any air that goes in is going to mess it up. So then what about putting the wool into the vat? There should also be gzeira, because again, these are all heat-related things. It's talking about a yoira that's akura, that it's not on the fire. But yes, if it would be on the fire, then it would be a problem. Then the Gemara says, so if that's the case, why don't we be choshesh that you're going to mix it, right? And that's a form of cooking. So Gemara answers, it's talking about akura v'tucha. It's talking about where it's not on the fire and it's also sealed. The pot is sealed. Okay, so now basically what the Gemara just basically said here is that there's a new gezerah that you're not allowed to put any uncooked food up before Shabbos, because we're afraid that you're going to mess with the coals, which is the way we paskin. Okay, we'll get back to this in a second, but that's clearly what the Gemara said till now. So now the Gemara says, and now that Mar said that the chashash is that we're afraid you're going to mess with the coals. So then if you take a raw pot that was totally uncooked, then would be allowed to put it before Shabbos in an oven my timer. Since it's not going to be ready that night anyways, he is going to give up his das from it, meaning he's not going to mix the coals because he knows that this food's not going to be ready till tomorrow anyways. He's not even going to bother checking on it, and therefore there's no gezerah. And therefore he's not going to come mess with the coals, right? Upashal shaper dummy. And if he does, right, this is also a very important word right here, these three words. If it's fully cooked, that's also okay. Meaning if your food is put up fully cooked before Shabbos, then that's going to be also okay. Why? Because why would you mess with the coals if the food is already cooked before Shabbos? Then it's not going to be an issue. Bishul v'loy bishul asur. But if it's cooked and not cooked, meaning it's only partially cooked, then it's asur. Why? Because we're afraid that you're going to mess with the coals. Okay, so basically we have three categories. We have fully cooked, which is no chashash that you're going to mess with the coals. Then you have raw, which is also no chashash you're going to mess with the coals. And the worst case is cooked and not cooked, right? And that's basically the way we paskin, which is that, do you need a blech on Friday night for your food? Okay, so somebody want to say something? Right, so this is where the blech comes from on Friday night. So blech, basically what it does is it covers over the fire, and therefore there's no chashash that you're going to mess with the fire. Okay, so if your food is fully cooked, you don't need a blech, which we're going to see in 2 blot from now, that there's a different sheet that holds it doesn't even have to be fully cooked. It could be either half cooked or a third cooked, depending on how you define Michael ben Drusai.
Is that for Friday night or for Shabbos day?
No, for Friday. What do you mean? Is what for Friday night?
Meaning, let's say my wife puts up a cholent before Shabbos, but we know we're not going to touch it regardless.
No, but still, it'd have to be. There are opinions that say that, but it would have to be raw.
Meaning,
Right,
you put it up before Shabbos raw.
Yeah.
Okay.
So again, according to Chananya, it doesn't even have to be fully cooked, right? So the Mishnah Brura actually paskins l'chumra, and he holds because of that, it's best to always have a blech Friday night. The Chazon Ish disagrees, and he says you don't have to have a blech Friday night as long as it's fully cooked. I think most of the Welt does use a blech Friday night, sort of like what the Mishnah Brura says. But if you put it up straight raw, then it's no issue. But nowadays the poskim say that our crock pots and our pots cook so fast that this kula of putting up right before Shabbos should not really be relied on. Okay? Then the Gemara says, and if you put in, if the food is quasi-cooked, and then you add a raw meat, right before Shabbos, then that's also okay, because since you put in the raw meat, so that basically shows that you're giving up on the cooked food, on messing with the food, and therefore you're going to be okay. So
Is it me or is
what?
my the only internet that's messed up? It seems like everybody's frozen.
I don't know. I don't see anybody frozen.
Like nobody's screens are moving. Nobody's budging.
I don't know. Tonight the oil was very wiped out.
Israel, we just spent the last hour and a half on a shear and halacha. You know what I mean? My focus is still stuck to my chair. I got to pull it off. I feel like I'm back in the Mir Yeshiva without air conditioning.
Yeah, the island was a little wiped out tonight. The island was a little wiped out, which I thought.
Why? What happened?
We had a Hilchos Pesach shir from 8 o'clock till 9:12.
We're all stuck at home with our
it's
family.
also a week and a half of being stuck home already.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's another.
I know.
thing.
I feel bad. I'm a volunteer therapist for Amudim now. I'm getting all these calls.
Oh boy.
I feel bad. I forgot to sign out that I'm not taking any more calls during the share, and all of a sudden my phone started ringing.
There you go. Maybe you should share it. That'll wake the oilam up.
No, so my shiloh was if I should answer the phone or not.
I hear. It's a good shot. That's a good shot. So anyway,
That's why I came late.
Okay. Nobody's keeping track.
I'm just saying it's.
Gotta finish the daf in a few minutes. There's a rabbi's call to get the updates on all the hak.
I'm kind of keeping track, by the way. Just
Jerry.
Anyways, okay. V'hashta d'amar mar, kol midi dekashi le zika loy magule. And now that Mar said that if something, anything that's difficult, that's going to damage the food, then we're not worried about you opening it. Hi, bister the god you have a sharik shaper dummy. If you have meat of a goat, Simon, this is for you, this Gemara. I don't know about this stuff. If you have meat of a goat, right, the sharik, you have meat of a goat, which takes a very hard time. It takes very long time to cook. The sharik, and the thing is sealed, and the pot is sealed. Then shaper dummy. Then you can put it up right before Shabbos, because there's two reasons. There's two bonus reasons, not bonus, but there's two positive reasons why you wouldn't mess with the coals. One, because it's sealed, and two is because, anyways, it takes so long for that goat meat to cook. We're not afraid that you're going to mess with it.
they used to cook them whole. They used to cook them whole. That's why.
Who?
They used to cook the goat whole. They shecht it, clean it up, do whatever they have to do, then put it in. They wrap it up and put it in either a big pot or in the ground.
Okay.
So it says here, and they seal it with clay. So they knew they weren't going to touch it for a very long time, because it's not a slab of meat. It's the entire animal.
Okay. But then what's the next case? The barcha, if it's a huge aisle, meaning it's an aisle gadol, Rashi says, it's a big ram, the loy sharik, and it's not sealed, then it's usher, right?
Mature.
Because there
Art Scroll says mature, because a mature ram, the meat is harder to cook.
it's harder, or it should be easier.
Mutton. It's mutton, so it cooks slower than.
I think the other way around. I think it's
mutton's very tough.
If it's meat that's difficult to cook, and then the pot is sealed, so then there's two reasons why you wouldn't come to mess with the coals. If it's easily cooked, the meat, whichever way it is, but it's easy to cook, and the pot is not sealed, then it's also because there's two reasons that there's two chashashas that you're going to mess with the
Well,
coals.
the way Rashi says it is that the wind is bad for it. So the first case, the wind is bad for it. The second case, the wind is not bad for it.
There's two things. There's the type of the meat, and whether the wind is going to be bad for it.
It says in the English in the article kid meat. Kid meat is a young goat. It's
kid
not
meat?
Kid, meaning like a young goat. A young goat. So it takes a while, but it's very soft. But mutton is very tough. Very tough. That's why you have to cook it a very long time.
I hear. Okay, so that's what it's saying. So if it's meat that needs to be cooked a long time, and you're not going to want to open up the pot or the oven because the cold air is going to ruin it, so then that's enough of a reason to. That's two reasons. So therefore, we're not afraid you're going to mix it. And if it's meat that's easily cooked, and it's not, the wind is not going to cause it a problem, meaning it's sealed, then usr. Then it's going to be usr. The gaji v'loy sharik, the barcha v'sharik. But if you have that it's goat meat, which is difficult, but it's not going to be sealed, or if it's easy meat that's cooked but it's sealed, so now you only have one advantage here. Rav Ashi shari v'Rav Yirmi v'difti usr. Rav Ashi says mutter, and Rav Yirmi v'difti says usr. Now, this is going to be important in halacha l'maisa, because if you go with Rav Yirmi that says it's usr, so then you need to have two things in order to be matter putting food up that's not cooked before Shabbos. You need to have two things. One, that it's going to be damaging to open the thing, to let in cold air, and it also has to be meat that's not easily cooked, right? And if you don't go with that, then you have more of a kula. So Rav Ashi the shari, and according to Rav Ashi, who holds his mutter v'tanya, we learned that Rav Ashi ain't selling basa batzel beitza ela kadesh yitzal b'vayid yoim. Right, so Rav Ashi says it's mutter, but then the Bais says that you're not allowed to roast meat or onions or eggs unless it gets roasted miva'id yoim. Right? So you see that it doesn't. It does have to be cooked from before. So we answer Hasan the Barcha v'loy sharik. No, there it's talking about where it was easy and it was not sealed. Ikadam read the gadya bein sharik bein loy sharik shabadami. Then the Ikadam says it's just a little different. The goat, whether it's sharik, whether it's not sharik, meaning whether the oven's sealed or not sealed, shabadami, it's still okay. The barchanami v'sharik shabadami. If it's meat that's easily cooked and it's sealed, then of course it's good. Kipligi the barcha v'loy sharik. We're talking about easy meat and it's not sealed. The Rav Ashi shari v'Rav Yirmi v'difti also. Rav Ashi says mutter, Rav Yirmi v'difti says it's also. Well, Rav Ashi the shari, it says v'tani ain't selling a bus or batzel beitza el k'dish yitzal v'yad yoim. Right, it says that you're not allowed to put these things up before Shabbos unless it finishes cooking when it's still day. Hasan b'bisra agumri. There it's talking about where it's basar straight on the coals. Amaravina high krachia shaperdami. This putting in this karachia is this raw. I think it's a gourd. No, is also good. Kima the kashi lezika kibisa the gadidami. Since putting air on it is going to make it damaged, so therefore it's like goat meat, and therefore it would be okay. So basically, what we're coming out here is that if there's good reason for you not to go in and mess with the coals, then that's going to be enough to allow it to be put up raw before Shabbos. Okay, we can do a little bit more, but I guess the oil's wiped out, so we'll continue this tomorrow. Be'ezus Hashem.
Tzviakov, could you email me the Shir Pesach? Pesach?
What, the one that was tonight?
Yeah,
it's gonna be. I'll send you.
I don't know if he probably doesn't have YouTube. I imagine.
You have the YouTube or no? You have Dropbox? Hold on. What?
Dropbox.
So do me a favor.
Is it a video? Could you send it on a video?
Yeah. Just send me your email me. Hold on. Are we done? Zach, where'd you get up to?
About the two dots, about 8-9 lines up.
That's about a machmir, right?
Yes.
Okay. Say, let me stop recording. Hold on.